Welcome and welcome back, everybody. It's Tabletop Toki here, and in today's video, we'll be doing a solo playthrough of Typeset. During the course of the playthrough, I'll give a tutorial about how the game is played, and be sure you stick around for the end of the video where I share my thoughts about the game in general. A huge shout out to DVC Games for providing a copy of Typeset for me to share with y'all here today. But without further ado, let's get started. Here's a game of Typeset set up and ready to play. Over the course of the game, we're going to be pushing our luck, drawing letters, trying to make the longest words possible while avoiding making invalid words. For setup, we're going to start by taking a player board and a marker. We'll then place out the game mat and draw a random special ability or select one. Then we'll take all of the letters and place them in a face down pile or into a baggie. During each round, we'll draw a letter and place it onto the board. We then have to insert that letter in the leftmost slot of one of our 7 words. We'll continue until 5 letters have been drawn. Then those letters will go up onto the mat, and we'll decide whether we want to proceed for another round. When we're placing letters, there are a couple of things that can happen. Number 1, we can insert vowels at any time if we have those vowels available, and we can also use our special ability up to 3 times per game. If there's ever a letter that we don't want to take or can't place, then we can circle an error instead up to 5 times per game, but that will get us negative points at the end. Additionally, we may gain the benefit of wilds. In order to get a wild, we have to use all 6 vowels from column 1 and or column 2, use any 3 of our challenge letters, place letters in the 4 marked spaces on our board, and we can also get a wild from using our ability 3 times. At the end of a round where we choose to stop, we're going to look at each of our 7 words. If the letters form a valid word, we'll get positive points listed at the top. However, if it is an invalid word, then those points will be negative instead. We'll also subtract points for any errors and total up our score. In a solo game, we are looking to get 40 points or more for a win. And that's all we need to know to get started. So we're going to start by pulling our first letter here. And for reference, our special ability is Caselay, which is the order or arrangement of metal type, such as alphabetically. And with this power, we can replace a placed letter with what comes alphabetically before or after it, with Z going to A. Excellent. Okay, so our first letter here is M. And we'll just start. There are a lot of words that start with M. Let's put it in our second column here. I feel confident that we can make a word that's fairly long, starting with the letter M. Okay, and we have an N. I think we should be good on that as well. So I'm going to put that in our first row. Then we have a V. Okay, this is a little bit more tricky. So do we want to use a vowel and place V after one of these? Or do we want to start a word with V? In terms of words that start with V, vixens, V-I-X-E-N-S. That would be 7 points, but can we get a longer word if we use one of these maybe? Or we can use our power to replace it. So T-U-V-W, so we could replace it with a U or with a W. We do only have 3 U's, but I don't know that that's super helpful right now. Maybe we'll use it and replace it. Seems weird to use it so early. Maybe we'll put it here and try to get something. Hopefully we'll get some wilds to use with that. Okay, and then we have an L. I think we can make a long word with an L. And let's see, for the last one for this round, we have a W. I think we can make a long-ish word starting with W as well. Okay, so that ends round 1 since we've drawn 5 letters. So we're gonna just place these up here onto our grid so we know which ones we've used. And we have our V and our L. Okay, where's that at? There we go, and L. All right, I think we're gonna push our luck into round 2 because currently we have no valid words. So we have a P to start. So N-A-P-P-I-N-G, we could do napping or try to get napping. So let's put an A there. We cross out our vowel and then we're going to put P, okay. How many P's? There are only 2 P's though. So we might end up having to use a wild, but let's see what happens. Okay, and then we have a D, mid-D-L-E. I don't know why I'm going for doubles here. There are only 3 D's, so ladles. I'm thinking like waddle, D-D-L-E-S. Let's go for that, I guess. Waddles. Again, we're banking on a lot of doubles, so I'm not sure if that's a good strategy, but we do have Caselay as well.
Okay, and then we have a T. I think we can definitely get a word that starts with T. It's hard to know like where we should put them. I think we just want to get them started. And then we have an N. Okay. A-N-D, land. But if we get a D, we want it for waddles. So tentative. Nope, that's too long of a word. Lend. Oh, I'm thinking of all these words that start with D instead, which isn't great. V-I-N-D-I. That's another D. So we could do like vain or vanity. Let's try that. We're using a lot of A's, which is probably not good. So then we're going to proceed with another one. I don't know that it's good that we used all those A's. Okay, we have a Z. So I can wrap around to make it an A, or we can make it a Y with K-Slay. I don't know that there's anything that we can do as far as D goes with any of these words. So let's use K-Slay instead of using an error. And let's turn that Z into an A. And let's put it on, I don't want to lock myself out either though. So maybe we should just take an error. So I'm going to actually just take that as our first error. So we are not placing Z, which means we don't get it, unfortunately, there. Oh, but we did get one of our marked spaces a while back with that one. So Z is going to go here. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And we have our T, we have a P, and a D. So these are all going to be gonzo. And we have to push our luck because, again, we don't have, we have nap, van, and wad, which are all words technically, but we can do better. We can do better. So we have a C. Okay. We could try to go for mackerel, I think, but that's another A. Oh no. But I'm not anticipating using any more A's. So do we want to lock ourselves out of A for sure? I'm not really positive. And I'm thinking like lacking, but again, that's not great. But I think we have enough letters that we could pretty easily get mackerel at some point. So I'm going to try it. And then we place our C. Famous last words. And then we have, oh, but we need a K. No, come on. So let's do Vandering. Nope. Nope. Okay, we're gonna have to put it after this L or this T, I think. Or Q with K-Slay, not great. Or an S. We could do tired or something like that. Trying. Oh, okay. Yeah, and that would get us the use of a Y there. Or we could do something else later, potentially. Okay. And then we have a T. Oh, we wanted to use that for vanity. Potentially. I don't know. We'll see. And then we have D. We needed that for waddle or waddling. And then we have an N. Oh, waddling won't fit. I don't know what I was thinking there. So we could do, oh, I was thinking train, but that's another A. We don't have A's. I was thinking trend, but that's a D, and we've used a lot of D's. So instead we could do, what are words? I was thinking we could do like loosen with OO, and then if we get a wild for SEN, but that doesn't seem great. We can also make this an M or an O. Maybe we will do that and make it an O since we have more N's, one more N that we could get, but we also want an N here. Something with an O here. Lonely, lonely. Let's go ahead and try that because we need to start using some of these vowels as well. And that gives us our second marked space. So we're halfway to a wild there. We're going to continue to push. Don't know if that's wise or not, but right now we have a lot of negative points since we have a lot of incomplete words. It's our first R. We have a lot of R's left. Okay. So next up we have an R. E-A, we don't have an A that we can use. We could do loner, but that's only 5 points, which isn't great. Lonely would be better. Water, right? With two D's, no. Mackerel, we need a K. How do we get a K? Trees would only be 5 points if we use two E's. Trusted, another D that we would need. And that doesn't have an R. But if we do, we can change this R into an S. Right there, we can do maced. Is that what we want to do? I'm not sure, but that would get us a wild. That's only 5 points instead of mackerel, which would get us to the 10, but we need a wild to get there, so that makes it a little more challenging. We could also go for triple D in this word and do wadded, but waddle would get us a 10-point word. I wish we just had one more. Okay, so let's do this. Let's use the Y for vanity here. That locks us in for 7 points unless we get something negative, but I'm going to put that there tentatively. Hopefully we don't have to take more negatives. Then we can put the D here. Loan something. I think we just need to do it. We have E, which gets us our wild, which we have to use now, otherwise it's out. And we only have two T's left, but let's do that. Let's do an E, and then we can place our D, which means this is locked in at 10 points. Woo, all right. We'll see if that works. And then we have a J. Ooh, this is one of our special letters. So I don't think that we have any room for that really. Ability, do boop. And that gets us another space crossed off. A K, oh gosh. So we can't really use that, unfortunately, unless we switch it to a J or, oh, we can use it here as an L, and that would get us a while. So we get an E there, and then we have one more D left, but we have a wild. So do we just take it? We're also looking for another P for napping, which seems like maybe we need to work on that to try to get another wild instead. All right, and MACK, at least I think, is a word. That's not a name, and we have a Q. That's so not happening. So we've used all of our case lays. We can't use it as an R, unfortunately, for mackerel. Yeah, that's gonna just be a negative. That's an error right there. So the question is, before we proceed to the next round, let's pop these up and see what we have left in our bag. Do we want to proceed, or can we finish out our words as best as possible with the wilds that we have? I'm thinking we can get pretty close. If I wanted to do napping, we could do an I, which would get us a wild, but then we would need an N and a G. So we're not quite close there, but we have all these other ones pretty well. I think we need to push one more time, and we do have those 3 errors. So hopefully we get some good stuff. Fingers crossed. We have a B. That's not it. So that's definitely going to be an error. And then, yeah, I can't think of anything that would work with that. We have an R, so we can add that for mackerel, hopefully. Oh gosh, this is really tricky. And then, or we can do loner, but I want to go for the big points. We have an S. Vanities, that's with a T-I-E-S, I think. Loans, that would be with an A-N-S. Waddles would work though. That locks that in at 10 points. So we'll take that for sure. Are we gonna get an N or a G? Nope. Loan, C, so that's gonna be a negative. Oh no. Unless we can put it somewhere. MACK, no, MACK, Lonus C? I don't think so. There's a P. Oh man, not great. That's gonna be a negative as well. The question is, do we proceed or do we just cut our losses? If we do this and take the I, we would get nap I. That fills out our last one here, which we could use along with an E to finish mackerel. That's our wild for the L. But then we have an N and a G and potentially one more there. So unfortunately, that's going to be -5 points. I think we just have to stop there because we also have -4 in our errors and loan is only 3. I don't think we did super well, but we'll see. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, -9 for a total of 31. So we were quite a far cry from the 40 points needed to win a solo game. I mean, we made 40 points, but we also had some negatives with pushing our luck there. Had we not and just left it at MACK, for example, we might have pulled out with a win, but it is what it is.
So there you have it. That is a solo playthrough of Typeset. I have a certain proclivity for word games, so this is right up my alley. And the idea of adding a push your luck element to that really had me intrigued. I love that the rules are very straightforward, and additionally, just having that fold out of reminding you of the different types of things you can do in terms of scoring, how you get those wilds and placing, even though it's very, very straightforward and also very well laid out on the map themselves. Having that little extra reference is a really great use of the inside of the box. I love the different choices in terms of which words you're going to start to build if you want to push your luck not only with going another round, but with securing in a particular letter for a word that might be hard to make. Or do you go the safe route and try to get more common letters so that you can make a variety of different words? Do you go for words that have shorter words built within them so you can maybe add on to them later or just score them as is? There are a lot more decisions here, I think, than initially might meet the eye. And speaking of lots of decisions and content, we didn't get to see it in the playthrough, but there are so many of these different special abilities that you can use for each playthrough, which I just think really freshens up the game. There are ones where you can go back and erase letters. There are ones where you can make 2 words in a column instead of just 1, where you can build from the bottom up for columns instead of placing from left to right. There are just a lot of cool little puzzly things that you can do on each playthrough with those various different special abilities. And I think that keeps the game feeling really fresh and interesting. I also love the versatility that you can easily play this solo or with up to 6 players. I feel like it's a game that's very accessible, and I do appreciate as well that the rules state that you can play in 1 or more languages as long as you agree upon that with your table mates before starting the game. If you're a fan of word games, this is a must-have. And if you're a fan of push your luck and like the idea of building words, special abilities, and puzzly goodness, I would also recommend Typeset as a game that you should check out. And that's about all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, you know the drill, like down below. Liking and subscribing really help out the channel, and they also help get the word out about games from indie designers and smaller up-and-coming publishers like Typeset and like DVC Games, who are doing great work. So thank you in advance for considering that. And thank you as always for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye. We'll be doing a solo playthrough of Typeset, or also known as Typeset.